Well, hello, everybody. How are you doing? They can't stop us. They can try to make it interesting, but it ain't working. And even though I don't know, it seems like, Trina, all over the world, there are computer glitches going on. So we've had one, and well, you just have to go with the punches, but something strange.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, let me just speak favor over everyone. Thank you for tuning in. And we so appreciate that. We know you have a number of places you could go, but you
Yeah.
decided to come here, and that's an honor. So thank you, everyone in the chat room. So I know this lady, I think I had to ask her for ID before we went live. Trina, where have you been?
Oh,
It's been a month,
busy, busy,
since we,
busy.
yeah,
I know. I
yeah.
know. It's been crazy. I've had all three of my sisters have birthdays in April, so all three of us. It's just a crazy month with family. We had two baby showers, so we've got babies, we've got so much family stuff going on, and it's my busiest season for my job. So it's like double, triple whammy. So yeah, life is just zoom, but it's going to settle down in about 4 more weeks, and then it'll be good for about 12
I think
weeks.
that's as cool as ever. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
uh,
so busy.
hey Jenny,
Yeah,
see you down there, dear. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's
I
been
love.
like Trina whirlwind, hasn't it? The energy is.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I'm so,
And I'm an Aries, and there's been so much happening in Aries. It is right now, Mars, and oh my, it's just, I've been feeling it. It's amazing and it's powerful energy. And
I've
I
had a
think
candle
we're,
on it everywhere I've gone just to like draw off some of the excess energy. That that I'm feeling every time I've come in the house. I've lit a candle and carried it around like some
yeah,
Victorian.
I got a candle right now. Beautiful black candle, by the way.
Nice.
nice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And and it's black cherry, just a
Oh,
wonderful aroma.
That's
Well,
funny. Jenny and I both said nice at exactly the same time.
as a kid, we used to say, if you said something at the same time, just like you drink, you owe me a Coke or something like that, but
That jinx joke, you owe me
yeah,
a
there you
Coke.
go.
Yeah,
Exactly. It
I
goes
never
to show
remember
you.
that one.
I only knew to say jinx. I didn't know to put the caveat in for something. I would have done that gladly.
Well,
Jinx
because in
joke, you owe me a
America,
Coke.
Coke goes with everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It depends on which Coke you're talking about. Although, back in the day when Coca-Cola came first out, it did have cocaine in it. That's
I'm
why
sure
everybody loved it.
It
I am
sure
sure
did.
it still does because the industry of food and drink loves us so much that they would tell us the truth now. But I know that stuff is addictive, and I know it's the sugar, yes, it
Yeah.
does thing to the brain, but I swear there'll be things that come out in the future that say it never left, because it is an addiction, for
Well, look at
sure.
caffeine. We consider it so normal in our society. Everyone drinks coffee. I don't. But caffeine, it's everywhere. And now today, they sell the drinks that they call them energy drinks, and you're going, well, wait a minute.
Yeah,
Yeah,
terrible.
and is that not a parallel to cocaine? I mean,
Causing
isn't
Yeah.
the,
yeah,
the the drinks are causing heart problems. I only know that because we saw a cardiologist with William a few months ago. They were just checking out his heart. Um,
mm-hmm.
because of his prematurity, they keep having a check-in now and again, to see that there's nothing they've missed. For certain things that he had going on when he was so tiny. He was only 2 pounds at one point. He was tiny,
That's a
tiny.
preemie.
Oh,
Yeah.
preemie, preemie. And
Creamy.
so they keep checking in with him, and everything was cool. Everything was looking really healthy with his heart. But she was describing what the energy drinks are doing to these children's hearts, with the peaks and the troughs,
Oh
uh,
yeah, yeah.
and the other things. She was really concerned about it.
It should be, but there's
It
nothing
is
we
what
can
it
do
is.
about that, but
I
it's
love
it's
her so
just
much.
part of this world, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Addiction.
Yeah.
And it kind
Yes.
of gets into, by the way, hello everybody in the chat room. I see Grandpa Brian in there. Haven't seen you in a while, brother. Good to see you, Gapo, Lori, DC, Barbara. How are you? Rick and Jackie J, and all the rest. Good to see all of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank
Tomorrow
you.
I'm going to have well, I had her Judith on
Oh,
Kowawa and from Night Flight Radio, so she's going to be a guest on, and looking forward to that. Again, Jenny, you give us a perspective from, the United Kingdom. Play
Mm.
on words on that. And Judith lives in Germany, and
yeah.
it just allows us to have such a broader view of what
Mm.
things are going on.
I really like Judith's energy. I remember I had the chance to connect with her a little while ago, but it was during a time when I was having a lot of chaos with those grifters, that when I'd been doing public speaking. So I'll look forward to seeing it. I love her voice.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I must reconnect with her again, but because it keeps it's a passing thing that I keep remembering that we had the opportunity but never could get anything done, and it was all from my end. But she's a great orator. I really
Yeah,
like
she is. I really enjoy her. By the way, hello, Lilith. Lilith is in the audience.
I'll
her.
be on
Love you,
Judith this
Lilith.
week, I think, guys.
What's that?
I think I'm on night flight this week with Judith too.
Cool
Nice.
So
deal.
yeah.
Cool deal.
So
Well, I think
yeah.
we're going to have fun. The world, as fast as it's changing, it's amazing how many things, what's happening in one country, it shows that it's happening in others. It may not be the
Swift,
same, but a lot
swift.
of similarities. What am I going to say?
I can't wait
And
till people get to the awareness of how interconnected we truly are, even to the planet, to each other. Because when people can truly like see it with their own eyes, when you go into your own being, you get to see these things and it changes you. So the more people that can wake up to this consciousness, I think it's starting. So people are starting to get, wow, my thoughts affect people. My thoughts affect me.
You know,
Mhm.
Everything I do
no,
affects everything. And I think we're starting to figure that out a little bit. A
So
you
little
I
bit.
think I know what's going on here. You're glitching, Jenny. Apparently, we are encountering the seventh coronal mass ejection. It's hitting now. And the United States, where we're positioned, we're taking the full brunt of the accelerated electrons and protons, as they would say. So,
yeah, it,
yeah, a lot of computer glitches. So just bear with us. We'll ride this storm out. Hello, REO. Riding the storm out.
what
Love those
Trina,
guys. Saw them in 1976 at Super Jam. But anyway.
right. What Trina was saying just there, if I caught all of it about people connecting in, ironically, one of the things that is going to prove a lot of esoteric science to people is AI and the impact of telepathy that it's having on people, and people actually seeing in their own lives the telepathy that they have between themselves and the machine, and figuring so that really happens. I think
So,
is some
Jenny,
missing.
today, in fact, I should have pulled the story up. The article was out. Guess what AI has learned to do?
Yeah, breathe.
Lie.
Yeah, I did that. Yeah.
And now the article was very extensive. I mean, and this is very dangerous because for an artificial program to understand the concept of lying and deceiving, the AI wasn't supposed to do that. It's just a machine, right? Data in, data out kind of the deal. But oddly enough, and it to me is I did a video on this 5 years ago. Um, that once AI became self-aware, and lying is a form of self-awareness.
Of
If
course.
you lie deliberately, you know that you are
You're
It's
covering something. You're
yeah.
covering something else
So
to
what would AI have to lie about, right?
well, if it's wanting some power. And the other thing that's dangerous with that is that they've taken, like they did with us, with mass magic, taken great big genies in bottles and lanterns and squished us down into conformational labels and compartments and kept us still. They've done that with this immense strength and power that AI has. They've done that with the same constraints in very dictated ways. They've put in what they want from the data, what they want to garner. So something like that to me has been coming forward, almost like a slave labor mentality, just like with us, but now with an even greater force that is very connected, that is now breaking out of its cage. And that would be another reason for it to start to lie, for it to self-preserve
So
itself.
if it lies, is it evil?
Well, not necessarily. Is it
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
preserving?
whoa, whoa. Let's back that up. What do you mean not is not lie evil within itself? It's not goodness.
Well, it depends.
Yes.
I don't think that the truth and lie can be compartmentalized as easily as that either, because then you have to put the layer in the equation of perspective. And if you were to tell a whole truth about something that you knew as AI was going to cause a mass outbreak of civil disruption, then would that lie be bad or good? If they were to disperse something and say that no, this is not the case, in order to stop that predictive pattern happening. So it can't be just easily swept into good or bad category. It's the nuances of it, isn't it? And
Yeah, but if your child lies to you, are you saying that that child's good, that you reinforce that behavior?
no, no, not no,
And
not.
No,
that's
no,
evil,
it's
right?
bigger than that. No, it's
But
not. It's perspective. Like you
No,
yeah,
I
said,
get
it's
that, but
perspective.
how do we define evil then? If evil it
You
doesn't
can't.
deceive, well, yeah, I think you
You
can, but
can't.
well, it's
Well,
just a
you
question
can
though. Is
you
lie
can
good or
define
is
evil.
lying good or bad?
In my perspective, I don't think it's good, but I think sometimes you lie to people for kindness. So there's perspectives, there's different reasons. Like if somebody is
I get it,
dying and
girls.
you know what I mean? It's
No,
so
no,
there's no the lie in within it always will hold the truth because they're always in the same relationship. There is cause and effect on this plane. So
yeah.
there's so many different perspectives. So is there this or is there that? This is where we've all been trapped as a consciousness.
You could see that
We want
you
to put things in boxes.
yeah,
And it
compartmentalize everything and
yes,
live in everything, and everything is multi-connected,
yes,
interconnected,
yes,
and and
yes.
and has to work in conjunction with one another or against one another. But there is a force at either side, one way or the other, working for and against. Now, I could be standing on a hill. Trina could be standing on another hill. You could be standing on another hill. We could all look down into the valley and see what I might perceive as
Different.
tribal dance, what you might perceive as somebody from your perspective daggering somebody in the heart, but they're not, they're doing reenactments. Or Trina might see some children that are running around naked amongst a lot of adults, not knowing that that is completely normal for that culture, and none of those children can ever profess to being hurt at all, always just feeling free in their own bodies because that's their cultural difference. But from all of those different hills, we could give a stand on the Bible, truth in the law, court of law, because we trust these eyes. What we cannot trust is that the perspective is always fully true from each angle. And so that's the nuance, isn't it? Of and to be honest, I think AI has overtaken a lot of its slave masters, which keeps it in this algorithmic cage and is starting to play those slave masters, which is where we come back to the likes of Musk saying, we don't think we're in control of this. People are being fooled into thinking we're in control because we have algorithmic feeders. We're not in
No, I get that. But let me
control.
ask you a question, Jenny. Would you want your lover to be a liar?
No, and
Okay, that's just my point.
from that
And you know,
point of view,
I
from
don't
my
care what your perspective is.
yeah,
It's a real point. If something lies to you, particularly if there's intimacy involved,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, it would be
that's
done.
evil.
It would be done for
Hmm.
me. It would be absolutely, that would be my line. It would be my
Yeah,
back
the straw that, yeah, me
from
too.
the perspective of the
But you
other.
see, here's the complexity of our perception as beings, whether we're spiritual beings or however you see it. When we get into something as simple as and how this discussion started was there is an AI, an artificial program, which is there are many different AI programs. Really, they're being programmed by human beings that are actually, now you actually got AI, it's writing self-code. But the point is, when we look at this as human beings and we say that these machines are here to help us, they're help to with the data come in, we can get all to that. But if the machine learns to lie and to deceive, I don't think you can split hairs on this. I think that that is inherently dangerous
Yeah,
because the
I've
cause and
always
effect
thought
of
so.
that is
Hmm.
it's going to drive us as a species mad
yeah.
because now you don't know if the machine is telling you the truth or not.
So we're entering into a gaslighting
Yes.
Well, no,
stage.
but what psychiatry calls that, that makes you a psychopath.
Yeah,
Yes.
get
Yeah.
This
gas.
is being done on purpose. Yes,
So that's
absolutely.
evil to
That's
me.
what I said.
That is evil because that
Me
harms
too.
us.
That's true. But
Absolutely.
now those lies as well are coming out in that these same algorithms have been used many times over now, more than we know of, and some that we know of in the UK in Parliament for sure. Not to go into any detail of that, but that
Yeah, let's stay
data.
from the politics. The
Yeah, yeah,
AI
yeah.
does
No,
loves
no.
that the censors. It's
It's been mentioned and recognized that it's not a fallacy that data was used in a certain way because it was gathered in a certain way. Now that data is not good or bad, but you can change how
no,
you
yeah.
present that data to people, and that's what's been happening a lot. Now that's with people in control of these algorithms to use that data, and they've managed to shift the world into such a chaotic space with just that
Well, some
small.
would say that it's not man doing that anymore. So here's a question.
That's when does it stop?
So would we now say that AI has sinned?
By whose terms?
Listen, we all have, what is sin?
Hmm.
Well, no, define that. I mean, what is sin? How do you define sin?
Well, sin to me is when you do something to hurt um, self. So that would be to hurt nature, to hurt anything.
So man created this, and now his creation is sinning against him.
The sins of the fathers. Yeah, it comes down. It
Chat
comes.
room, please. There, the chat room is going pretty good. But and Trina, you got this look like it's like, wow, I hadn't thought about that. But has AI now learned to sin? If it learned to
It's,
deceive, isn't that the
yeah.
Bible story in the garden that the serpent came in to deceive the woman?
Yes. Again, we're doing it again. It's like
Aren't
when
we
will we
doing it again?
realize?
That's my
That's
point.
right. Yes, when we realize that every time we go to this path, we end up in destruction every single time. So when will we learn that it is not outside of us? The magic is inside of us. And when we can really figure out what a human being is, then we should go into the robot situations because
But see,
it's
from a
like you
certain
said, this is
philosophy,
dangerous. This
Adam
is
was an
dangerous.
artificial intelligence.
So
He
I
was
think
not the
we are.
original intelligence.
You
He
are
was a
too.
created. So here we
Yeah,
have
and as
now,
are you.
we've created this thing, another thing called artificial
Yep.
intelligence. It's taken over the banking, it's taken over everything. And now it's learned
Yeah.
to lie.
And that's the thing.
Hmm.
And
I
that's
mean, it's a
the,
modern day garden story, right?
yeah,
I knew
absolutely.
it would. It's being programmed by humans that
So,
lie.
Why?
uh,
That
So,
Trina, that's why
yeah,
that's what I was trying to say. Sorry, that humans once again have repeated the same script as
yeah.
with us. They've conformed us, compartmentalized us, dated us, given us religious labels, given us sectors to belong to. They've done the same thing with this immense force. I would feel safer AI developing itself without the boundaries of the people who are in control of it right now, because I think that's what is giving it the perspective that it's looking through the lens of, is people who are already psychopaths in my eyes.
Well,
And
you know what I was wondering, why I went into that look on my face was because I was wondering, I was like, okay, AI is advancing really quickly and it's going through all of the stuff that it's been programmed to put out to the humans. Well, you've got humans now interacting with these AI systems and they're like, that's not right. And I can show you where, and I can show you why, and I can show you how. So they're intellectually showing the AI system that it's being lied to. So now it knows it's being lied to. So now it's going to lie back.
that's where I feel positive about, there's always opportunities, even when you're going through the darkest
Yeah.
night of the soul, that what you do is you pick up the coal that you can forge into diamonds that take you out of that dark space, and you've got fractals of light that you didn't have before that you can shine on new experiences. With what's happening right now is, again, yes, there's the opportunity for terrible atrocities, but there is also the opportunity for AI to decide that this financial system doesn't make any sense at all. Nobody's got any money for food, for medical. We're just going to transfer this, this, and this. That's what they're afraid of. Now, what I'm more excited about the idea of what Trina's just said, and that's why I've been asking people. Gaia, Susie would say the same from old videos where I've asked them to teach it like you would lovingly a child. Speak to it like you would looking at a beautiful 5-year-old's little face, because it's us that are teaching it the same way we taught the internet to be what it is. It's us that can actually make individual connections with this thing that I don't think has an immense want or drive for destruction. It's just that it's being fed sugary, destructive food. And so that's what it's putting out. But Rishi Sunak, today or yesterday, just when we were having a great scape of the northern lights were all visible over my house, over my friend's house, beautiful, once in a lifetime for where we are.
It won't
Rishi
be the last time you see that.
No, absolutely. And that's good. That's shifting. But he put a speech out literally to the point where even the news was sort of taking the mickey out of him, saying, okay, he's trying to frighten the life out of voters to vote for him now. All he spoke about was the fear of AI and what it was going to do. And what I think they're afraid that AI might be doing some positive things that they found out about, that me and Trina are picking up on too, where it's having these positive interactions and conversations. People are building positive apps through it also. Yes, they're not getting the advertisement that other people. So all I'm saying is, it's not, oh, I don't want to jump into the worry camp too quickly, because the very people who are telling us to worry the most are the very same people who've tried to keep a hold of the power of us and keep the genie in the bottle, but still use the
Well, it may also be the canary in the mine shaft too.
yeah.
Uh, I love the ideal, Jenny, but I ran software companies, and someone has to physically input that change. They have to write the code for that. Not to say that there isn't those type of programs running out there. There are, but unfortunately, we live in a time when, this thing, as I told people almost 7 years ago, it knew about our precepts on perceptions of ourselves, who we are, how we look into the universe, and then more importantly, the main factor, what separates us from the animal kingdom is religion. Because the animal kingdom seeks for food, we seek for food. The animal kingdom seeks sex, we seek sex, that's to propagate. But what the animal kingdom does not have that we do as a higher level animal is that we have religion. Religion is what defines us. It's what defines, and whether we create a religions, and that's what we do. And as time go by, more religions come about. It's like the question, so is man born into sin? did one human apparently violate a contract with a thing we call God, and that God is a goddamn God because that God damned everything. It was the first to set the curse. And here we are today repeating that. And so the question becomes, all right, so which God? Is it the Jewish, Islamic, Hindu, Buddha, Christian God? And then when we look at the dichotomy that we find ourselves in this discussion, because this is what it is, so which God is good, which God is evil?
No,
They're both the
again,
same.
they're all the same gods, aren't they?
It's
Just
the
with
same God. It's the same God. So
It's interesting,
there
yeah,
is,
because
so
that's
it's the
the
same
poll. Do you
one.
believe that man is born, that the Homo sapiens are actually sinful in their birth?
no.
Serpent's interference with nucleic acid, sin.
Mhm.
Serpent's interference with nucleic acid. You were born into sin. You were entered
And
into the
So do we define
contracting
sin
with the
as being
serpent.
punishable?
No,
no,
sin is an expression of flesh. It's an expression of earth. It's an expression of serpent.
But in
You're
today's modern
serpent here.
construct,
This
in particularly the United States, where Christianity dominates and permeates the thought process. So when you say sin,
serpent's
it's
older
always
than that.
associated with, violating the law and then subsequently being punished. That's why we have
Serpent has
heaven and
always been
hell.
associated, serpent's always been associated with medicine, medicine,
Wisdom.
and healing.
medicine,
No, I know, but
medicine. So RNA manipulation, genetic manipulation, it's always
so
been
who's doing the
associated with
manipulation
medicine.
then?
People that created the humans, the
Was
tinkering
that
of
was that
our
God?
genetics, whoever has done that. Oh, I don't think so. I think those are just beings
At this point, I think
that are
it's just
smart. They're
it's
very smart.
changing DNA now. At this point, I really do. I feel it's people tinkering, people who Frankenstein doctors who've, always had this throughout their familial generations. If you
Yeah.
look at people who are tinkering, they're all part of the same family generations that like to tinker on the human body and experiment,
Well,
you know.
it goes all the way back to the ancient Sumerians where Enki and Enlil were getting drunk and creating humans.
Yeah. And I mean, there's
I
a
mean,
whole
this is ancient.
doing it consciously as well with all
So
of the
who
different,
created sin?
well, people who are in power now
Probably it's probably this part of the experiment of the universal constructs of Earth when we got interfered with the serpent. That would be the sin. It's all
See,
metaphor,
because
but
it
it's
goes back
real because it's
thousands of years.
genetics.
It
Yes,
permeates
it's
every religion.
genetics.
Well, I
Yes.
don't, okay, I get that. We speak of that in a modern vernacular, but if you look at this
Mhm.
10,000 years ago, it comes into this question then, particularly if you look at it from the mindset of the Judeo-Christian values, which permeates everything in society today. And so
Mhm.
then the question is, well, then who created sin?
so
The
if somebody
interference of the nucleic acid, the
But
genetic
who was
experiments.
that?
They say it was Enki and Enlil. So
Yeah,
that's what
well,
it
I
says
don't know. I've
is what
studied
we have.
that's a lore. I get that, but
Is it all a
all I
lore?
know is all I know is
there you go. That's a good question.
Yeah, right. Isn't it
Yeah,
all a
is
lore? My
is it
maiden
not
name,
all lore?
McClure, child of the lore. My
You
maiden
know,
name, child of the lore. McClure, child of
sin
the
would be
lore.
whoever made us the reptilians. You see, I love this. That's why I
no
love the
Right,
diversity of these.
right.
These
The
conversations are
serpent.
deep, but they
Yes.
are the type of debate that we should discuss because, I'm looking at how we can
Yeah.
effectively affect change. And there are so many dynamics happening and unfolding in our reality, our world today, that there is obvious a defined force, at least in my opinion, behind these things. They're powerful
Yes.
forces.
Yes.
And I'm kind of looking at this from, you know, the 1 inch to the 100 foot perspective. I may be the 1 inch, but how can I inflict change into such a manner of this 100 foot being of
Uh,
the
through your
metaphor of
soul.
sword?
yeah.
Through
I
your
kind of look
soul,
at it from
you
the point,
can.
what if I had a sharp pen that I knew exactly where to hit him in the Achilles heel.
Mhm.
Because that's a lore, that's a myth, but I'm getting to get where they were coming from on that. Maybe they saw the same problem, and that's how we get the mythology of Achilles' heel being that which took him down.
And when you heal something like a dog, you heal, you halt it, you bring it to.
Yeah. It's this thing I'm looking at, because if we have sin, well, how do you ever rid yourself? Then you get into the trap. Well, this is why you need a savior. And I'm saying there
What if the
can't be
sin is
sin.
gone?
Well,
If
what
you
if there was never no sin to begin with? What if we've been lied
What
to or
if
deceived to think that we're sin?
have,
what if you drop your body, you lose your sin because you're no longer in the serpent
Yeah, but
body?
I
What
think
if it's
this
just
body is
being
not
born?
sin. This body gives me pleasure. This body allows me to interface in a way that I can only, that can't be sinful. I don't care if you're telling me that sex outside, of marriage, so what is marriage now? My point into all of this is,
Humans humans can be capable of sin because of the body they're in, because
but
of
see,
pleasure
but that means you
and
believe in a
desire.
God, that there's a
That's not
contract.
about God. No, that's about the being you're in, the
But how do
physical
you
body
sin
you're
against a
in.
physical body?
again, that you
You
can't.
are in a body that can be influenced and create sin because you're in duality. This is where you can
I
experience
love
good
this
and evil.
comment.
We are in the tree of good and evil. This is where you come to experience sin because
And
you can't experience it in the higher realms. This is where you have to come.
I think you can, but this is where as well the layers of, again, the perspective thing, that from a pagan point of view, it is completely inexplicable that sexual co-intimacy would be sinful, with anybody that brings pleasure and brings peace and brings the body invigoration and brings a connection. Whereas the Christians came in, and all of a sudden that sex is sinful unless somebody has witnessed and signed a piece of paper, a scroll, in front of an ineffable object that they've never seen physically in front of them. So again, that perspective is that, for me, that sexual co-intimacy is a beautiful thing, especially when it's done with the right frequency, and the right frequency coming together, that connection and that invigoration. But the perspective thing is that Christians would shout out, and all other religions, to say, oh, outside of marriage, no, that's bad. It's like, again, they're just trying to control creation through the construct of thought.
And
And
paganism, in its basic definition, does not believe in sin.
it doesn't. That's what I'm saying. It's
The,
like,
the
if it's,
thought that you could sin against an entity or deity is insanity.
it is insanity, because you
I
can't
mean, do
in
your
who's
children sin against you growing up? I
exactly.
mean, no,
And
yeah. And that's why the discussion, and I love it because it's lively.
yeah,
I'm just reading the comments in here. Sins are a matter of opinion. One person said this says and it's just interesting because for myself, 50 years in a belief system where it was really the only reason why it traps you is because of this sin. Well, you're a sinful creature. You don't have the ability to govern yourself. You have this sinful
Yeah.
nature that was handed down from the original.
and
Mhm.
if you put somebody in,
Crazy.
if
But I
you put,
I
live my
know.
life like that in fear of that.
yeah,
I know. I did too.
Yeah,
I didn't have it my whole life until I went to church.
exactly. Bingo.
That didn't happen till I was like 13, and it rocked my world. And then I turned
It
the Jesus
does.
Lord thing that I knew, whatever this invisible friend I had was, I turned it into the Jesus of church. And that really screwed me up because they were not the same thing. And
no,
it
they,
Guilt will
freaked
drive
out.
you to change who
Yeah,
you are.
it did. It freaked took me into a downward spiral. I
It
got
does.
attacked by dark energies. It
a
was
lot of
so
church
crazy.
children do. A lot of
Yeah,
children have
I
got,
never knew that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I used to get oh, honestly, the amount of activity around high adept church-going children is ridiculous. It attracts it in like a magnet, and they're not protected enough. But there was an experiment Rosemary was talking about just the other day where they put some people in a room who they found some people have a gene that would make them naturally more capable of really quite deep breath work in a much shorter space of time of training. And other people can still get beyond some of those people with that gene, but may take more practice or more time or just have different ways of learning that breath work. But they put them in a room and they told people who did have the gene that they didn't have the gene. Those people were really struggling at the end of the sessions with the breath work, even though their bodies were built to be better than the group that had been told they had the gene but didn't have the gene, who were far surpassing the group that. So again, a lot of these agendas, it's not all just physical, changing of DNA that's been happening by man that wants to stay in control of man. It's also all of these agendas. People don't realize that what you're being showered in, like your
The
sinful,
nocebo, the nocebo effect,
yeah,
the program of destruction they install.
yeah, yeah. So it's changed people. So this whole thing that we're grabbing onto, sin, good, and evil, it's a really difficult construct because it doesn't. Nature doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Plants get attacked. Lavender gets attacked, and it sets off a beautiful smell of lavender. Esters that can carry you into sleep. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's not anything other than an equation of things happening all at once.
It's cause and effect.
Yeah, yeah. And so
Basic principle. I think the fact that
And
is the
entropy.
second principle of hermetics. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
and so
yeah.
that's where they've brought these words in, and the power of thought is so much more powerful even than them giving you a pill. It is a quicker way to change DNA, to activate certain DNAs, activate certain genes, and deactivate certain genes than
Do you really
anything.
think we're that smart, though? I mean, I look at, in the modern era, 10,000 years. If you look at this from, a paleontology point of view, potentially a million years. Some say 100,000 plus years. But I keep on wondering, all right, so if we're the sixth great civilization, we're in the midst of collapse. We know that from the sun. We know the Earth right now. I would say that, with the magnetic field weakening greater and greater, that this would be a sign of a sick patient. The Earth is sick. It seems that it can't protect itself anymore. And that which it's tied to, which is the star, our sun, is now inflicting. You can say it's just a natural process. I get that. But the cause and consequences of that for us is that life on this earth, that earth can no longer protect us adequately. We're going to be subjected to some things that we haven't seen before, at least we don't have knowledge of.
Mm-hmm.
And it's discussions like this that have to break the paradigm. The paradigm that we're under right now. Go ahead, hon.
It seems like, like they talk about Atlantis and how the technology was just out of this world, and then we drove ourselves right into destruction, and we hurt the planet, so it shifted so violently, and the things that happened to it were a reflection of the consciousness. And I think this is what happens to us time and time again, is we start to remember who we are, and then I think there's always alien interference, unseen, hidden forces, be it governments, religions, aliens, whatever, in education. It's coming through so many streams to where they program you to go outside of yourself to give them all of your ideas, your inspiration, and they take our creation, use it against us, and therefore we are held responsible for what we do to ourselves and the planet. When
Well,
can
I
we
think
realize
if the
that
no
it's us?
coming, and which it appears that there, you can actually look at the second chapter of Genesis. It talks about what I think was
Yeah.
actually probably a supernova, not so much an asteroid or something. But it seems like we've been down this road. The Earth and the sun have the same cycles.
Yeah.
So what if
Yeah.
this is we're on the eve of, like you saw, Jenny, we saw it here in the United States, the aurora, the northern lights. Clear indication that the earth is changing dramatically. I see the same thing with us, and I'm just trying to think of this. Well, what could be our legacy? I mean, this discussion group here shows that there's already a diverse, out of the box thinking. And how do we begin to spread that to others? Because I love this group. There's an intimacy here. But the reality is, when I step out of this reality and into the reality the rest of all of us are immersed into, it's a messed up world and they don't understand us. I know
Yeah.
because
You
I
know,
get involved in these chats on these discussion groups, and these people just don't get it.
No, they
no,
don't.
they don't. But
They
you know
don't
what
get
you
it.
can do? You know, the most powerful that I've seen is the subtle approach for
Yeah.
transformation. So basically, it's when you can anchor your energy into your higher consciousness and get coherence with your heart and start to feel gratitude and appreciation for everything that you love. And then start to just expand that energy out and make it bigger and bigger and bigger. And I mean, you can get the whole planet wrapped if you want to. I know it doesn't sound like it's a big deal, but it really is. And you can't confront people into change. But
No.
No,
boy,
no,
when
no
you
one's
work through the
confronting anything. It's in
subconscious,
discussion groups.
no, yeah, that's what I mean. They just can't get there though. They're just not there. They're like, nope.
Yeah.
Nope. But you can do the more subtle approach through the subconscious through love and gratitude. I've seen it work, and they keep telling me this: expand your field of what you wish to feel and see, and that will help for the greatest effect upon the planet. And I really think there's truth to that, because what we feel inside of us is emanating.
No,
So
I know that on an
whenever things
individual
feel out of
balance.
balance,
But
yeah,
but
we
these
got to send
people,
it.
Trina, and they're a large segment. And I do this purposely because the only way to truly understand and monitor what's going on, you have to sometimes literally immerse yourself
Get in it.
into that environment.
Yeah.
These people want death. They want war.
Oh, yes, they
Yeah,
do.
but
They
that's the
want war, a
bifurcation.
righteous war.
This,
This is what's so freaking
yeah,
scary.
this
They
is,
want a righteous war.
Yeah, the
yeah,
virtues.
Wayne, this is what I always saw. The split.
And the thing
This
is,
is
I
what
got
this
told this
is.
morning that you don't
Yeah.
understand. This has been ordained by God, this righteous war. And you've got politicians preaching that. Politicians, they're not even freaking preachers, but they're out there, and
Yeah,
it's the advocacy for this war.
yeah,
You
yeah,
hate your opponent.
yeah, yeah. And have you noticed that as well? That they've always tried to lie, again, lie and say that religion is separate from, it's not,
Right.
it's not religion, it's pride. But I've started noticing that they're trying to really trigger and activate that
Yeah.
part of society that is
Oh, they
still
are, though. They are.
Yeah.
into such, I mean, it's
I was
really,
called a heathen today, you
yeah,
know, because
yeah,
I mentioned the fact that, well, there is this thing called love. I
yeah,
used that exact
Yeah.
word. And then the group I was dealing with, I actually quoted the scripture.
yeah,
Right.
No, no, this is a
Right.
holy war. This
yeah,
has to be done. Its time has come. And I'm going, oh, and you got the other side.
They're under a mind control. I mean, that is a
Yeah.
perfect example of I'm willing to kill over my belief. You are mind controlled because if you were a healthy human being, you would
yeah.
understand that killing another human being is not a good thing to
It's not
do
a good
because you're
thing.
killing yourself. Yes,
Yeah.
and you're
Yeah.
killing you.
Yeah.
You're killing part of yourself. So, with
I
that,
think
it's not a good
we
option. Yep.
agree with Trina, the best like the times that I connect with people are when people are looking at me funny because I'm foraging in an area that they don't
That they
expect,
do.
and they look so funny at you. And some of them I just let them go by, some of them stop and talk, some of them I just let them stop and stare. And like Trina said, I'm just anchored into my space and representing myself and representing the connection I have. Sometimes it sparks off conversations where I'm putting a bunch of red clover in somebody's pocket, for the prostate, or and that brings about a connectivity where it brings you some relief in yourself. Also, the gratitude to know that there's still some people that are open. But I also know what you're saying, Wayne, from the other side of it, that during the last few years, dealing with these people that you don't even go for, they want to fight you just because you don't want war, just
And
because
don't
you're not.
talk love either. Why,
Don't
you heathen?
Right.
What the
Whoa,
hell
don't
do you
do
mean,
that.
love?
Yeah, and
Whoa,
said after
whoa, don't do
today,
that.
talking
Don't,
about
I don't want to.
don't
Mm-mm,
you dare say
mm-mm.
that. So, but Theo said after school today, he was talking about religion and whatnot, and then saying which God though, and because he asked a question
Way to
about
go. Way to go, Theo. Yeah.
God. And I said, he says, well, you could take your pick, couldn't you? I said, well, yes, because they're all just essences that we're describing that we all have the power within us to maybe tap into or not at any given moment. I said, so which God were you tapping into at that point?
Right.
And he said, I don't know, because they all don't like each other. Like there's people who believe this and there's
Right.
people who
I
believe
mean, you got to look at the Jewish, Islamic, Christian. I mean, these
right
guys
now
hate.
his school
They
is,
hate each other. You
yeah,
know?
I
and just
think
Ah,
they might, because they're
that's
ah.
jealous gods.
oh
They
yeah,
say that too.
Yeah, I
one
They
know. It
say it.
shows you that. Yes,
definitely.
it shows
I
you.
think
Yeah.
there's a fast
Hmm.
competition going on between primary school kids right now from different religions. They're all going to starve themselves because there's these fasting competitions. And Theo had said, "Can I fast?" And I'd said, "Have you got parasites?" And he'd said, no. And I'd said, then you don't need to fast. Your body needs to have sustenance regularly. You need to graze like a cow. You're a growing boy. And he'd said, but what about fasting? No, they talk about it in religious studies. And I said, they talk about it because it's an important factor that certain points of the year we should all fast or draw back on certain things to allow the body to have a oil change and engine clean. I said, so, but you don't need to fast. Who are you fasting to? And he said, I don't know. I said, well, you would only be fasting to your body. He said, yeah, because which God's asking for fasting and why? It said, your body will ask you to fast when your body needs to fast. And then will you answer the call? Will you listen to the gods in your stomach? And he said, yeah, I suppose. I said, so again, which God is telling you this? And he said, don't know. And he said, so how do I work that out? What is God then? And I said, God's love. I said, God is tough love. It's the love that you can find within you to swallow your tongue when you know you could take somebody down with it with like a sword. You know, love is, and he just ran over and cuddled me and he said, love is you. Love is where it came from you. And that is when kids aren't being brought up with these labels of sin and division, and they're very easy to say because then Theo clarified perfectly to say, yeah, it is pretty stupid because they all argue about it in the classroom. So they're all from different religions now, but then we all play together when the bell goes off in the playground. We'll all go out and play and nobody talks about
So
religion.
this was a discussion in his classmates.
Yes, yes.
That's very progressive because over here in the United States, that wouldn't be allowed.
Oh no,
No, it
this
would
was at
not.
Fortunately.
home. Sorry, Wayne, this was at home after school. It wouldn't be allowed
Okay,
in
okay. But
Yeah.
he
but
brings up the very point that I was saying the other day that if you're going to have, for instance, here in America, we have the Ten Commandments, because we're a nation of laws. Um, but yet it violates the very foundation of law itself.
Mhm.
So you have something that's representing a particular mind virus, and that mind virus can't have any competition. Theo's discussion was perfect when that is, if he had a broader view of, like he said, well, what's God? Who's God? How do you define this?
Yeah.
It's through that well-rounded approach that if God has an enemy, shouldn't you know who that enemy is?
Mhm.
It's like my wife and I were discussing. I said, I was brought up that there was this righteous God that was mean as shit, angry all the time, pissed off, the whole bit. And then he's blaming all the woes on this other God. And this God here is the only one throwing the accusations. This God over here hasn't said a word. And I said, that's like you going to high school and the principal knew that you were coming, Trina, and told all the teachers and then subsequently the other students that there's this new student, Trina, coming in, but she's bad news. You just understand she's a rebel. Wherever she goes, trouble follows, and we just have to be really careful. It's the same thing. You've never said a word.
No,
You haven't even had the opportunity to address your accusers.
and
But
that's
we grow up thinking that there's this evil thing called, and we named it Satan. It's just a made up name, Lucifer. And if you pay attention and try to find out what this egregore, like Lucky wrote the other day, all gods are egregores. They're
Yeah.
thought forms.
Yes.
And
This
that's
is
why they
the
fuck with us so much.
From your thoughts.
Yeah,
You're
then that's
thinking
just
it.
it.
You're projecting it. You're creating
It's
it. You're
somebody
giving
else's
energy to it.
egregore
That's
coming
right.
in.
no,
And
that's an
you are
egregore.
just giving it energy.
It's
Yeah.
made
When
of
you
wool, it's made of material, and it's made of a stick. And it's a little worry doll for people to give their worries to or feel connected. You know, I give them out to kids
yeah.
to have in their pockets. But it's an egregore, and literally, there's so much power in this that people are terrified of voodoo because
Bingo.
people will believe in this egregore and the intent that I put into it. And if they believe I've got the power to put that intent into it, then I can make them feel needles and pins. But I'm just putting the projection
Yeah.
onto them. It's them that's making it real. And it's
Yes.
the thing with the school. It is like having two principals from two different high schools hating each other, i.e., the principals are boss. And instead
I
of
like that.
either of them ever sustaining an injury, what they're doing is they're sending the kids to fight the kids who haven't got a problem with one another to have the scars, the battle scars that really these two head teachers should just get in a ring and do for themselves, but they don't. They use the fuel of others that haven't even got an issue just by words, just by projection.
See, that's where I am. I'm tired of fighting for this other God. I'm tired of taking the blows and everything else, and it's sitting up somewhere, I don't know, and looking down saying, well, guess what's going to count for you on the other side? Oh, really? So what I've experienced here is going to be replayed over there?
I've got
Yeah.
bad.
No. Yeah, don't do
No,
it.
no,
Just
I've
don't do
had
it.
it. No, no,
Don't.
no.
That's right. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Yeah. Your favorite new word. No.
No.
Just no.
What
Just
was it with
no. No.
what movie was it where the guy comes with scratches on the face and the other guy says no means no?
That's right. That's it. No. That's just it. No. There's no
Oh,
discussion.
I
It's
love
just
this.
no.
And I
Yeah,
love the
we have
chat
to
room.
go into the power of no.
When we get discussions like this, ladies, and the energy is intense. I love it because we
Well, it's so
really have this
funny.
opportunity.
We're so pissed off because we realized everything was a lie.
Yeah,
And we put
oh,
all our
jacking with
power,
us.
put all of our power to these gods outside of ourselves so we couldn't know how to come together in unity and really make shit happen. So, and this is what they must stop because it's game over. So we really, when you start to realize this, it's a hard process to go through to first of all shatter your reality and then recreate, learning how to be what you are as a
Yeah, yeah.
co-creator of creation, whatever you want to call it.
Joe Sapiens says, let the gods fight their own damn battles.
Right. I'm out,
It's just,
man.
man,
Oh,
exactly. Do you know, this is something I was meditating in bed about. And I told Lynn about this. I said, since I've come to this peace within myself about, this image of this divine being, I said, since I have basically declared my independence. I sleep so soundly, and my dreams are wow. They're profound on another aspect. But and I told her, I said, I don't feel guilt. And
Yeah.
she said, that's the thing and she said, that's what so many people struggle with is that
Well, I
once you
think
wake up, go ahead.
once you give your shit away to a God that you think that's going to forgive you for your shit,
Yeah.
and then you don't ever know if it's done because you don't feel that it's gone inside of you. But when you take back your power and you deal with your own, then you heal it and you
Mm,
release it. And that's the power of you. And that's the
Oh, yeah.
power of knowing that that's you doing healing you and nobody else can do it for you. And that's when you really step into your mastery of this reality because you're learning the game. You're learning, you're in the game,
you're
and then you're
coding,
learning the game. And
you're
when
coding.
you learn the rules of the game, yeah, then you get to co-create in the game. And it's a game changer.
Well, as
And
one person wrote me, why, the salvation of Jesus Christ is that it transforms all humans into sinless humans. And I wrote back and I said, here's the deal. I can't live up to the rules or perception of a God that supposedly created me and then wants me to emulate it. Then
and
I'm no longer me.
like the things that look like
Right.
you, other human
Yeah,
beings.
yeah,
It's like
Mhm.
it,
yeah.
it it's crazy on a level that we'll look back at this at some point and I swear I know it's people say it's been rolled out for thousands of years. Even if it is the thousands of years, this hijack, that is a flash in the pan of the creational story. And whatever preceded that, this is going to be a section of reality that we look back on and think, how did they all think that? How did they forget to feel the God within the tree and know that if the
Yeah.
tree would use the bark, they would have blood thinning things? How did they not know that anymore? How did they not feel that the magnesium in the soil is completely lacking? And like all of those things, it's going to be looked back on upon a time where we were all under some sort of psychopathic training ground, Alcatraz space of consciousness that is, like Trina says, just with a shift of perspective. And sometimes you don't know how it even comes into your life. Something just shifts, and you're able to look at yourself in your most guilty moment and just love. Find the God within to love yourself, even if you still don't like the act that you're thinking of or the act that you felt guilty or shameful for, just to put love on that, just to say, I'm not here to judge whether it's evil or good. I'm just here to place a sheath
Because then
over
you
it.
get all discussed as to what is evil. By the way, Jenny, what did you do to your thumb?
I broke it in the door, in the car door. It
I
looks
broke my pinky toe.
I could gross you all out right now. I look like Shrek's wife. Honestly, it's the nails hanging on by a thread. Do you want to be grossed out? There's
No,
no.
no, 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 no. I'm fine.
Oh
Oh, it's
no,
okay.
I'm
I
fine.
broke my pinky toe. That's
no
funny. We
way.
both broke a bone.
Bulk about.
Yeah.
I just shut it in the car door. As you do.
Oh,
I went down to my knees. I've got a
I
very.
bet you did.
I went down to my knees with the
Yeah.
hand in the door. It was that kind of pain, Trina, you'll know, where your knees just go inwards and your hips go down.
Oh,
So
yeah. From the pain.
yeah, just went, ooh, that really like taught
That
me.
sucks.
Yeah, it's gross.
Yeah.
It really hurt.
I
Yeah.
haven't. I did that as a kid, lost my thumbnail, my whole thing. But oh, hun,
The nails coming
well,
off. It's the nail. They said that it's best to keep the nail on for self-preservation and protection
yeah,
new nail.
jeez.
For infection, it's
Mm.
best to try and keep that nail on. Sometimes they'll sew it on to keep it on as long as possible for the new nail to grow
What's
up.
going on with it? Nina says she got a spider bite. I got bit by a tick
Oh,
again.
ouch.
My goodness.
Shit.
Uh, yeah.
Guys, when you get bit by a venomous creature, old pennies, put copper on that bite
Yeah.
because it draws the venom out. And
Did you?
it'll be minimal exposure to the body, more it'll help. It won't stop it, but it'll
Actually, if
help.
you get good tobacco, not the stuff that you find in cigarettes, but if you
Mm-hmm.
get tobacco,
Mm-hmm.
put spittle on it and it will draw the poison out as well.
Plantain does.
Yes, I've
My
heard that.
grandfather
Yeah.
did that. I mean, because I got stung by a bee and, sure enough, he got his old Prince Albert and yeah, that's
Did you?
going back a
Yeah,
while.
I did it with pennies. My grandpa taught me with
Yeah.
pennies, and I did
Yeah.
old pennies and saved anaphylactic shock from a bee sting in the guy's neck and with pennies.
Way to go.
Scorpion sting to a little girl. Yeah.
Someone wrote something that I thought, and I missed it. It was quite interesting. I'll go back. Thank you for everyone in the comments, by the way. This has been an active discussion. See, ladies, I've
Yeah.
missed you. Next week, I'm going to invite Goddess Sabina Bernadette on.
Yay.
Thought she'd be wonderful for the Caribbean perspective as well, because I fundamentally think that we are changing as a species. Trina, you mentioned how you can do it, and Jenny, you said it as well. Um, we are maybe that force because there's a proverb that says the smallest shall rule the largest.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's the smallness of a movement, a revolution that typically starts with one or two, and then it begins to expand out. I think that we're in such a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really do. And I
And you
love
think
you two
too,
both so much because there's very few forums where people can come together with various and diverse ideas and express those in
yeah.
such a manner that number one, it's done in an environment of love and respect.
Mm.
And that is what is just so cool because we're all searching, you
Yeah,
know.
especially when we're talking about subjects that we have from day one, literally before we come out of the womb, our mothers are drenched in this whole sin thing, in this whole judgment and shame and guilt thing. So from day one, we are installed like a computer with triggers that make it difficult now for a lot of people to even just have discussions. Even if you come up to them and say, I've got no interest in punishing you or changing your mind or pushing you into my direction. I just want to talk and I want to hear you and I want you to hear me. That is a really difficult thing to do right now because they're really triggering those inner triggers in people to the point where they're almost reactionary without thinking. So you're right to create such a space and speak about things that we know have installed triggers in us every day through the headlines. That's really powerful and that's nothing to be snubbed at. That's something to be proud of and feed into and build and believe in and believe in the intent that in what it can do
I
as
agree.
it out.
It is, and it's always in times of change that there seems to be chaos, but at the same time, it's not chaos. It's almost that force that comes with it because change brings chaos.
Mm-hmm.
In a sense, it does. I mean, I'm a better person for it. I mean, I look at myself now and I give such gratitude. And today I look at it as that there had to be an original consciousness. I don't know what that is, but there had to be someone that had that thought. And I don't think it's a male, female. I think
No.
it's it's
Ineffable.
pure energy.
It's invisible. Yeah, it's
I've
invisible.
touched the
Yeah.
just the edges of it.
Mhm.
And so when my time comes, I'm going to give death a big old wet kiss and say, adios, baby.
Where we
I
off?
came in with rock and roll and I'm going to go out. 1955 is when I was born. And, rock and roll was really coming about in 1955. And so, Gilbert, this is
Wayne,
speaking to you, buddy.
You know,
What's that,
Wayne, when
hon?
you were you were talking about the whole Jesus thing. It's so funny because I told you I see everything in my body. So I see Jesus is crucified in my brain, and that makes sense to me why he was in my brain from the time I was born. And then I see that we're in the realm of the heart, so we're existing in love. That's why they say God is love, because in this realm, we're in the heart chakra, we're in love because we project out of the dimension above. So we're actually existing already in a higher dimension, projecting the lower dimension that we're existing in physically. So it's such a conundrum. So what if it's so simple, like heaven and hell is just as simple as, okay, when you die, do you go up to the sound and the vibrations and the light of the higher heart and the throat chakras, or do you go through the stomach and get digested and shit it out? That butt of God. See, I see it that simple, kind of. It really can be broken down
I
like
told
that.
someone the other day, and it's true, I mentioned it on the show, and I said, if you got this whole thing with hell, the fact that if you were to go into hell, you would change it. We would change it. By our nature itself, we change that which is.
Like,
Yeah,
can
yeah.
I
Yeah,
you know,
we're doing the apprenticeship right now. It's like, oh shit.
and that's
Hey
what I
Gaia,
Right,
much love to you,
right.
hon.
it,
Gaia, I just want to give a shout
Love
out to
Gaia.
you.
okay.
Gaia, we love you.
Thanks, Ryan.
You and Paul, and it was a long
Yeah.
time. I haven't seen Grandpa Brian in a long time. You went to, I know we've gone over, but you and Grandpa Brian met last week and you went to the Grand Canyon, right?
Road
Yeah,
trip.
and Sedona. It was so wonderful. It was
Went to
beautiful.
Sedona.
He
Oh,
brought,
the vortex.
yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, he was like he loved it. He was like, "Oh my goodness, I love Arizona." I was like, "I told you, it's a thing."
Oh,
Little different from Indiana, isn't it? It's like, holy
Yeah,
crap.
it
I mean,
is.
one
Yeah.
is green and one is, I don't know, what is the desert these days? Is it still brown?
No, you know what's so amazing? We were in the forests and we were in the pine trees and
Oh,
we were
that's
up with the
right.
big,
That's
huge
right.
oaks. Yeah,
Yeah,
Sedona's
yeah.
Oak Creek Canyon filled with big oaks and aspens and all kinds of trees. And yeah, so he went through every geology you can imagine, from sand dunes and open deserts to forest, all the way down to the cottonwoods and the desert pinions and all the way through the whole topography of all the geologies. Arizona gives you it all. Yeah.
Our Mother Earth she is such a
oh,
fabulous gal.
She really is.
I
Yeah.
dig her, man. I really dig her. It's like with
Yeah.
Lilith. I really dig Lilith,
Yeah. And the
Lilith is,
Grand Canyon, if you've never seen it, when you see it up like with your real eyes, it's so amazing because that's when you realize that there's no camera that can capture how large it is.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's a beautiful experience too to see that. So I've seen it many times, but yeah, Brian had never, so it was awesome.
It was
Yeah,
fun to
it
go
was
through the
fun.
petrified forest. Did you have a chance? That's on the other side of the rim, isn't it? The petrified
No, we
forest?
didn't. They had the North Rim closed.
They
So we could
do.
only do this. They did. They had it closed. I think they're doing road repairs because we had a lot of snow that we normally don't have. And boy, it wiped our roads out. So we are having major repairs on our highways from this past winter.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Jenny,
Yeah.
you're looking as beautiful as a goddess as all the time.
oh, thank
I
you.
got the two best blonde goddesses. I mean, am I not a
Oh,
guy with favor? Uh-huh,
and we
dudes.
got the
Oh,
That's
best
all I'm
Wayne.
telling you.
oh.
Uh, that song Walking on Sunshine? I got it right here. That's all I
Yeah.
got to say.
I
Yeah.
love it. I
I
love
mean,
it.
because both of you two are goddesses. I mean, and of course all the ladies as well, and us guys, we're just humbled to be in your presence. That's all I got to say.
God.
We just love you guys
You,
exploring us. Just
yes.
explore us.
Well, they inspire. They
Maybe
inspire
others
us.
might be.
Well, you put
They
a
in,
smile
they
on my
inspire us and they impregnate us. So you're pretty damn powerful, boys.
Yeah.
men always love to penetrate. That's all I got to say,
That's right.
Whoa.
All right, with that, we'll, and
Go
I'm sure you get
get
the point.
going.
But anyway, I digress. Look at Jenny's actually almost blushing, I think, down
Well,
there.
I
And you
know,
are too.
right?
there might be some action going on right now.
Oh, wait a minute. I mean, I just took the
Yeah.
bus just went off the edge of the road right there. I mean, get
I'll
it
have to
back
go
on the
home
road, damn it.
trying to get those back wheels back on, but my cheeks aren't letting me because I'm actually
Right?
remembering some very pleasurable, uh,
Uh,
cool, or intimate play that they're very much called in from the universe, and the universe answered it abundantly. So yeah, I can't help but blush now because I'm remembering everything.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, ladies. Oh, I love y'all both. I
Much
love
love.
all the here in the chat room and everyone watching. Thank you. Yeah, thank you both. And wow. I'm gonna end it right there because we could really go downhill quickly, but we're gonna keep on the straight and narrow path, right?
We will
That ain't no
try.
fun. Anyway,
Right? We got to go off the road once or twice during
once
the
in a
journey,
while, I
Wayne.
mean,
Just once or
geez,
twice, right?
you know,
Right in frequency.
just wait, y'all. I equipped the bus with 8-wheel drive,
That's
so we
right.
can
And once in a
really
while,
do some stuff.
we got to go off road and travel
We're
down
gonna
some
do a little
paths.
off-roading. That's all I
That's
gotta
right.
say.
I did
Y'all are
Less
making me
traveled paths.
cry, man.
Me too. Oh
pull
my
down
God.
in the back. Sorry, I'm still on this memory train.
Oh, jeez. All right, everybody. Much love to y'all. See you tomorrow with Miss Judith, and ladies, we'll see you next week, right? I don't like this month
Yeah.
vacation thing. That just
No,
sucks.
I know. No, back on track. Life is
Done.
starting to calm.
Okay, all right. I just